Alright, what's going on, y'all? Good evening, and of course, interesting that I'm saying good evening to y'all because it's been a while since I've done that. And not only that, I actually planned on doing this a few hours earlier, just didn't work out that way, but at least I'm getting it in. I said I would get in an after work video, so here we go. Of course, as you can see here, we're about to talk a little bit about TNA wrestling, and for a variety of reasons. I mean, there actually is a little bit of good news, and of course I talked about this before, and really and truly shout out to Ango TV for this one. I actually just caught one of his first videos, actually his first video of the day, and of course that was pertaining to the news that TNA Impact will now be airing its weekly content live on TNA Plus, which for me is amazing. I've said before, I have issues with actually getting access to Access TV. I did not mean to go that route with that. That was a little weird for me, but it is really, really huge. I don't know that I'm subscribed per se to TNA Plus, but I know that I will be here very soon. I say it like that simply because of the fact that, just it's interesting because I've been hearing a lot about the similarities that they actually have with WWE in terms of how they operate. I mean, they both have parent companies. Of course, Endeavor for WWE, or TKO, if you will. Also, obviously for years, TNA, of course, formerly Impact Wrestling, has been under the ownership of Anthem. I forget the full name of the actual company. I don't know, and that's probably something I need to work on with that, because I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't always had the utmost respect for Anthem. Just to be perfectly honest with you, I don't even necessarily remember all the reasons why that is. But one thing that I will say is that outside of the Scott D'Amore firing, they've actually been pretty good this year. I can't take anything away from them. Hard to Kill was amazing. The episode following Hard to Kill was really good, especially with the main event of Will Ospreay and the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander. I mean, certified banger and a half, if nothing else. But now we fast forward, and then of course we've got their own variation of the Forbidden Door with WWE, to where now we've talked about it, Jordan Grace, TNA Knockouts champion, is challenging NXT Women's champion Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's title this upcoming Sunday at Battleground. And of course, this is literally far and away the biggest year of TNA's existence. Like, it's not even close. Like, I remember when they first started airing their episodes on Spike TV. When Spike TV was actually a hot commodity, I don't know how many of y'all remember that, but either way, it's just amazing to see where they've gone from them. I mean, they've gone from there. They hit what has to be seen as a considerable downward spiral for a significant amount of years, and all I can say is that I'm looking forward to the best with this, and I couldn't be any happier. This is fantastic news right now. And with that, we're going to move along to free agents of sorts. Really, it's just potential names on the move, and we're going to start with AEW, specifically my man Ricky Starks right here. This one's interesting, and people are going to be like, okay, NJ, you might be a little late to the party on this one. I think this has already been discussed before. And it has. It absolutely has. And it's not even so much that I'm late to the party. I'm just deciding to talk about it now. And hopefully the sequence of these topics here coming up will help explain that to some degree. But that being said, it was just real interesting. I'm not going to go into all the details or a full quote or anything, but it's just really, really hilarious how Tony Khan wants to talk about we'd love to have Ricky Starks back. And it turns out he's been available literally the entire time since dropping the tag titles, since him and Big Bill dropped the tag titles to Sting and Darby Allin numerous months ago. I'm thinking that was back in December or something like that. I'm not real sure. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that. But either way, this is just kind of laughable to me because I hear a lot about people looking forward to him being in WWE. They talked about the fact that he was backstage. I'm thinking it was for WrestleMania when Cody finished the story. I don't remember all the details on that, but really for the last couple of months there's been some fairly significant speculation as to whether or not Ricky's going to wind up making the jump. I don't know if he is. I'd like to hope in that same vein that he winds up pulling an MJF and decides he's not going to leave. But I wouldn't be shocked to see him make that jump, and it would be huge. It would be a huge loss for AEW, although I think they'll still build from it, and they've actually done a lot better than people are willing to give them credit for in terms of recovering from a lot of these losses, whether it be a Cody Rhodes, a Jade Cargill, and now Ethan Page. I mean, these are things to where I'm pretty confident it's going to wind up getting crammed down AEW and even Tony Khan's throat as to how this is all going to work out. And you want to hope for their sake that you don't add Ricky Starks to that list. That being said, however, we're going to do a little bit of a crossover the other way around and talk a little bit about Natalya. Now, this is really interesting because I didn't really read between the lines on this, and maybe that's something that I'm missing on this because I find that quite a few of you are actually enjoying the content between AEW Monday Night, AEW Dynamite, Monday Night Raw, probably even SmackDown, and so on and so forth. For me, I'm kind of in somewhat of a funk with that. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I'm just finding a significant dissatisfaction with what I'm seeing just overall. Maybe, again, this is just me not reading between the lines properly on that. I'm going to have to look back on some of this and reevaluate this. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is specifically because, let's say hypothetically, and right now I think a lot of the expectation is Natalya will remain with WWE. I still feel the same way on that in regards to Becky Lynch. There's a little bit too much of her name being brought up, whether it's Lyra Valkyria or even Liv Morgan or whoever it may be, they're just keeping it a little too close in terms of how that's worked. And of course I've heard other stuff about how there's leaked contract information that's been put out there. So you never really know with this, but the reason I wanted to talk about this, I know I went on a tangent, is just the potential of Natalya being a part of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, which I think would be remarkable in so many different ways, being Owen Hart's niece, and just the legacy that, is carried with the Hart dynasty. And I think that would be a very, very interesting move on her part if that was something she would decide to do, but we'll see. And then of course there's a lot that we got to find out regarding Becky Lynch as well. I mean, I guess only time will tell with a lot of these situations, but either way, on from one potential free agent to another, we got to talk specifically about Chad Gable, but not just Chad Gable, as it does seem as though the speculation right now is that Chad Gable has re-signed, and of course, with that in mind, I think this is great because they're investing a lot in his storylines, as a lot of people have pointed out. But one thing that a lot of people are invested in right now is the storyline going right now as far as a potential breakup with the Alpha Academy. And it's been talked about, there are those that have said that they could see Chad Gable breaking away from Alpha Academy just so that he could go on a run where he can be taken more seriously. He's not such a comedy act, because with Alpha Academy as it's constructed, that's pretty much what it is for the most part. Actually, I can't even call them a comedy act. I think that's been too generically used. What I would prefer to think of them as is just the plucky underdog group. You know, I mean, they've got all the underdogs. You got Tozawa, who, you know, a lot of his run, especially with the main roster, has left a lot to be desired as far as what they really could be doing with him and his actual overall potential. I mean, you could say the same thing in terms of individuals like Ricochet and really a whole host of others that didn't fare so well under the Vince McMahon regime and are still looking to recover from that. But this is one situation where I gotta say, if done the right way, and here's where there's a lot of other speculation, you know, of course the expectation is for Chad to turn on Alpha Academy, and not only that, but join with the Creed brothers. I went as far as upping the ante and saying that Ivy Nile ends up turning on Maxine heavy. I mean, think about that. Those two have actually been tight on the air recently, at least fairly recently. They're not doing that as much because of the storyline or the focus on everything with Alpha Academy that they have right now. I mean, Creed brothers have been in sort of the background, but we're not seeing as much as Ivy Nile now, especially since the Queen of the Ring tournament, which I'm thinking she lost in the first round, if I remember correctly. But either way, you know, I think what would really be amazing, and this would actually be a really, really heavy swerve. Not a lot of people are fans of this as much as I am of this, but it has been brought up. I wonder if we don't get a supergroup. I mean, here's the thing about Alpha Academy. They've got the talent that can be taken seriously. Maxine, I think we can all agree, and I've had discussions with people about this, is improving immensely. Now, is she all the way great yet? No. I'm not going to go as far as saying that, but the growth the growth that she's shown in recent months is almost second to none, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I gotta imagine, with at least a couple of years under her belt, I mean, think about what she'll be like at that point. And she's got some really, really uncanny physical attributes to her that really go a long way, especially for someone in that profession. I mean, that's just my take on it, and I feel like you could do a lot of things, and especially if you keep Ivy and Maxine together, and as a strong heel tag team. I mean, I think you could build them up the right way and be a real good threat for Bianca and Jade Cargill. I mean, that's just my hypothetical, and I'm probably going a bit further than a lot of you would, but I like the idea of it. I really do, and I guess that's pretty much what I've expressed with this. I mean, let me know if y'all agree with me on that or not, you know, but either way, I thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me even a little bit later, and I went along with it again, but, you know, we're working on it. We're trying a lot of different things here. Y'all know what it is. Like, share, subscribe if y'all enjoy, and, of course, if you're new. And, yeah, again, thanks for rocking with me, and I'll be back in the morning.